Don't know if you know this, I bet you do, but this weekend marks the 50th anniversary of when Neil Armstrong became the first human to step on the surface of the moon. When he did, he uttered the immortal words that still ring deep within me. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Now, of course, if he'd been more sensitive and inclusive, he would have said, that's one small step for a Homo sapien person, one giant leap for people of all colors, genders, religion, ethnicities, and sexual orientations. I watched when President John F. Kennedy said in 1961 that we would put a man on the moon and we would return him safely before the end of the decade. Tragically, President Kennedy didn't live to see his vision, but I did. And I was always just amazed, and I was even watching on TV yet again when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon while astronaut Michael Collins orbited the lunar surface to prepare to reunite them for the trip back home to a hero's welcome like no other. I was just a little kid when the president said we'd go to the moon, and I was a teenager when America actually pulled it off. And yes, it was America that did that, not some international globalist conglomerate of corporate kingpins. America. And we didn't do it in a vacuum. We were clearly in a race with the Soviet Union for the bragging rights to win the space race, and we did it. And we did it the way America was created to do things, in public, with accountability and exposure for the whole world to see. The Soviets created the culture to only tout their successes and lie about their failures. They did put the first person in space, but they had many failures and fatalities that they never admitted or even acknowledged. Now, when 3 of our astronauts were tragically killed in a fire on the launch pad, it was there for the world to see. When the moon-bound Apollo 13 astronauts almost suffocated because of a failure in their spacecraft before an extraordinary team of engineers were able to frantically work and find a solution, the whole world watched and they prayed. And in those days, it was still okay to publicly call for prayer, which our political leaders freely did. Having watched our nation promise to go to the moon and back and see them do it, I got to be honest, I grew up in an age where I believed America could do anything. I loved my country. Heck, I still do. And I've got a real hard time understanding or identifying with people who enjoy the benefits of our freedom but have nothing but contempt for our country. Sadly, some of them actually got elected to Congress and seem to have no awareness of a nation that, while far from perfect, has provided opportunity, liberty, and hope for more people from around the earth than any country on earth ever has. And we didn't just lift a rocket to the moon. We've lifted more people out of poverty than any nation. We've lifted people with free education to endless opportunity. And we've lifted women and minorities to equality like no other nation. Sure, it wasn't a perfect path, and we didn't always do it right. But we fulfilled the words of our founders by becoming a more perfect union. Not perfect, but more perfect than it was. This week, the New York Slimes and the Washington Compost both ran editorials diminishing the landing on the moon by lamenting that the space program was mostly the achievement of white males. I kid you not. Now, at the time, I truly don't remember anybody being so dopey as to even think about the color or gender of the astronauts or the team who created the space program. They were Americans. And there were women and people of color who worked to get those astronauts to the moon and back. We left a few things on the moon that remain there today. I just wish we'd taken a few idiots who refused to celebrate that historic accomplishment and we'd left them there.